I tell people all the time, the devil is not going to come knock on your door and say, "Here I am, suckers." Instead, he's going to try to creep in quietly when you're not paying attention. And especially when it comes to our families, he's particularly crafty. When Bay was in the 5th grade, we didn't have, well, let me back up. For years, we didn't have television, cable TV, or internet in our home, because part of our parenting philosophy was that we wanted to try to shelter Bay from as many of the wiles of the world as we could. And of course, over time, what we realized is we weren't carrying out our parental responsibilities by just simply trying to shelter her. We had to teach her to be aware, to be alert, and to be on guard. And so, as Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us, there is a season for everything. And so we realized that that season of our life needed to change, because she couldn't be sheltered into adulthood. In fact, the thought that we could shelter her into adulthood was contrary to the gospel, contrary to Jesus's teachings. Jesus was not of the world, but he was in the world. And so, when she was in the 5th grade, we finally got the internet. And part of her 5th grade Alabama history assignment turned out to be that she needed to do some research on the internet and write a paper about a famous Alabamian. And the teachers just randomly assigned the people that they were supposed to research, and Bay was assigned to do a paper on one to Tallulah Bankhead. Now, Miss Bankhead was the daughter of a famous and powerful senator, but she was also a movie starlet in the 20s. Hannah and I had little or no understanding of who Tallulah Bankhead was, and seemingly innocent enough, Bay started doing research about her. Unfortunately, Bay soon found on the internet that Tallulah Bankhead was also notorious for sexual exploits. And some of those exploits were described in perhaps too vivid of detail for a 5th grader. We thought we were on guard. We thought we were paying attention and being aware. But yet, he craftily crept under the door without us realizing it. And Bay was exposed to things that no 5th grader should be exposed to. So then we had an option. We could react with emotion and perhaps vitriol and menace because Bay had been exposed to such and been corrupted by such, or we could use it as a teaching moment. And yet again, the seasons changed. And so we decided as parents to use this as an opportunity to better prepare her for the world. And we taught her through that moment. What do we have to be prepared for? What should we be aware of? What should we be on the lookout for? Well, parasites. Did you know that most death and destruction in the animal kingdom is not caused by what you and I would think of as a carnivore? In other words, if you took all the people that alligators and sharks and in other words, if you took all the people that alligators and sharks and mountain lions and whatever else had eaten in the world and added them up, took all the animals that they'd eaten and added them up, you still would not have accounted for the majority of death and destruction in the animal kingdom. No, in fact, the vast majority of death and destruction comes from parasites. And that, my friends, in life is what we have to be on guard about, what we have to be on the lookout for. Malaria. Malaria killed more people in Central America, for example, during the building of the Panama Canal, than all other diseases put together. It was a parasite. A parasite born by mosquito bites. Every time you find a dead carcass, you're liable to find parasites. You're liable to find worms and maggots eating that rotten flesh. And so we have to be careful about parasites in our life too, because the smallest things can do the most damage. It's easy for us to overlook a seemingly small and insignificant threat. You know, I'll just lay out of church this Sunday, or I'll just drink one beer, or I'll just do one whatever. Simple, innocuous, not a big deal, right? Just a small little parasite. It's just one cable television show. It's just one thing on the internet. It's just one cigarette. It's just one card game. It's just one lie. The reality is that every time that sin dominates somebody's life, every time somebody in my professional experience that I've seen sin completely corrupt and ruin somebody's life, it always started with that phrase. It's just one. It's just one parasite, one small little parasite. Just like these crabs and crustaceans that are slowly devouring this catfish carcass. Looking at them by themselves, they appear to mean no threat whatsoever. But I promise you this, if you stuck your finger down there and let that little crab pinch on the end of it, you would think otherwise. And certainly if you laid down and let those crustaceans crawl all over you and began to devour your flesh, you would think otherwise. But here's an interesting thing about parasites, friends, is they usually prey on dead flesh only. And so what parts of your life, what parts of your faith walk, what parts of your relationship with Jesus do you think might resemble dead flesh? Maybe that's where you need to start working. Maybe that's where you need the encouragement and the inspiration in your own life first, and then with your children. Proverbs 22:6, train them up in the way they should go, and when they're old, they will not depart from it. The worst parasite of all for a child is the parasite of their parent. I can see now in my girls some of their worst traits are things that I taught them. I let it creep in. And oh, I wish I could go back and undo them. And so now all I can do is try to talk to them, try to use my own bad examples for their benefit, and try to set a better example. I guard against it. I'm watching for it. I'm mindful of 1 Peter 5:8. And I pray you'll do the same in your own life today. I hope you have a great Sunday. I know it's going to be great wherever you are. I'll be praying for you. And do know that I sure do love you. Have a great day. Hey, I do hope that you will share this video and that you will encourage your friends maybe to go look at getting their own copy of It's Sunday Morning. Maybe it'll help them too. If you're finding fulfillment, if you're finding encouragement, if you're finding peace and joy and a draw to the Father in reading these Sunday morning devotionals and watching these videos, then I pray that you will help share it with other people too. So be sure to click that like button, that thumbs up button, and be sure to click that share button and tell your friends about it too. Thank y'all. Have a great day.